And who wins the FA Cup?
Who wins the FA Cup? Aston Villa.
Surely.
Villa are out, mate.
Oh, no, they're out. What are we doing?
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Great Character Podcast with me, Harry. And I realised last time I never really introduced Matt, Wiley, and Nathan properly. So Matt is in the top left, if you could say hello.
Hello, I'm Matt.
And Nathan's bottom. So,
Hey, right.
Yeah, I realised that I never introduced him. Somebody raised it to me after I posted the last one, so I'm sorry.
Rookie error.
Very rookie error. I also apologise for my Northern Irish attempt at the great character. But like Brendan Rodgers, it was awful, and I apologise for that. Today's going to be a bit of a deeper podcast at the start, but we'll lighten up, don't worry, you know us, hopefully after one podcast. And thank you for all the messages of support we've received over this last week, leading up to the podcast coming out, and even after it came out. It's very heartwarming. I really thank you for that. So we're going to start today. I'm going to list what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about mental health, because I think during this lockdown and even in sport and everything, it's very important to talk about and be open right now. So we're going to start with that. We're then going to talk about cricket, the Australia versus India, all the drama in that one. There's a lot to talk about in that one. Also about COVID in football. So will COVID cause the cancellation of the Premier League and other leagues, and all the new protocols and that, and we're going to discuss that. And the FA Cup draw, City, Liverpool, United, all that, and then finally ending with Man United versus Liverpool, the big one that's this weekend. So just want to start about mental health. Me personally, I've struggled with mental health occasionally over the last few years, and especially this lockdown especially has been tough for me. And I just want to open the floor to you two lads and either release some stories, talk about your mental health, or just get us going, really get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when you talk, when you talk about the power of sport, don't you? It feels like it's an escapism sort of thing. It's an escape from kind of whatever you might be feeling, and sport can provide that real help. The fact that sporting, you've got role models in sport as well. So the fact that when they come out and they say, with, you know, I've had problems, for example, or I've experienced my kind of my problems with my own mental health, and that's really quite powerful to hear that. And I think as well, the fact that they're male as well, because male mental health is a massive issue. It will carry on being so, but the power of sport to affect the change and affect the conversation, particularly Harry, I know you were talking to me the other day about the Heads Up campaign by the Premier League, and just that how powerful it can be, both as an organisation, as a concept of sport, within individual sports, and then even more individually with the players themselves.
Well, you speak there about the players, and I actually have a story to tell, because you're right, it's very empowering. As I said, I've struggled with mental health on and off since my swimming days. And somebody I spoke to the other day that I luckily got the chance to talk to was Chris Kirkland. I'm not sure everybody watching or listening to this would know who Chris Kirkland is. He's an ex-professional goalkeeper, played for Liverpool 25 times in the league from 2001 to 2006. He's part of the Champions League winning squad, but was unfortunately injured towards the end of the season, so couldn't really take part in the final. Great bloke, and I got the opportunity to talk to him about my struggles personally, and he was brilliant, because he spoke about how he struggled moving away from home to Sheffield Wednesday. I think it was in 2012, 2013 he played for Sheffield Wednesday.
I went to see him a couple of times.
Yeah. He used to travel from where he lives in the northwest, and he said that kick-started it anyway. And I obviously have lived away from home a lot throughout my life. And it was just great to talk to him. And you spoke there about male role models, sport role models coming out. And when he put that tweet out was the day, funnily enough, the day before we recorded our last podcast. So when it was Liverpool versus Southampton, we lost. That wasn't the reason I was down, because it was the same day it was announced about it was announced about the lockdown. And I saw the tweet. He wanted people to reach out to him. And luckily, I think it was the night we recorded it or the day after, I got a FaceTime from him. And it was the best chat ever. It was things like that that cheer you up. And since then, I'd say I've had my struggles this lockdown, but I felt a lot better, podcast being part of it. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is seeing how I felt, or not seeing, feeling how I felt when I spoke to Chris Kirkland. I want people to open up and speak to as many people they can about it, because it does genuinely make you feel better, rather than sitting alone, stewing over what's going wrong, because there's a lot going on now. And I'm pretty sure most people out there will be feeling the same as I felt that night. And just opening up to anybody, your mates, if you can even send a DM to somebody you think, a famous person, you might not get a reply, but if you do, great. And just talk about it. And I think that is really important, because right now it's not being done enough. We spoke about the Heads Up campaign, and yeah, I just wanted to raise that today. And I don't know if Nathan has anything to say on it. Do you have anything to say on it?
No, not really at the start. It was just like, I can't be asked to do another one, but now just get myself busy, and that's how I've been doing it, so it's all right.
Yeah,
I think as well, I just if we can just add about talking to people and opening up as well, it's really important to check on everyone, because there's quite a lot of campaigns at the moment that emphasise the ones that seem okay are quite often the ones that aren't.
yeah.
So it's about being, try and be proactive, speak to your friends, especially now, as you were saying, it's lockdown 3, it's dark, it's cold, it's horrible, it's a rough experience for us all. But yeah, reach out, speak to people.
Because you're right there. It's really important, because I feel like I'm quite a bubbly guy. Most of the time you won't see when I'm down. I don't know what you guys think about that, so there is times when I feel utter, I'm not going to use bad language because it's going on YouTube, and not that we're getting any revenue though. But yeah, I feel absolutely rubbish. It's happened since I was a swimmer. That is partly the reason for it. I'll maybe open up on a different day about that. But yeah, since then I've had times where I felt rubbish. First lockdown was the hot weather, could play football outside, could go on walks, and towards the end of it we could see people at a distance and stuff, and that was much better. But now I'm stuck at home. I love my mum and dad, but I'm stuck at home, and it's dark, cold, I don't want to run, I've put on weight and stuff like that. But things like this podcast make you feel so much better. And I think people need to fix onto something that makes them feel good, and it will get you through this experience, because it's going to be a tough however many months. But anybody listening to this, you can reach out to me. I know that for sure. You can reach out to these guys, say what you want, comment, DM us, and just open up even to your friends, your family. I think it's really important. And Chris Kirkland, massive shout out to him. One of the things, walking's brilliant, is one of his charities. He does a lot of walking. He told me to get on that. I've been a bit lazy. I've only done a couple of walks.
So I didn't get splashed by a car. It's not
Yeah,
right then.
exactly. Yeah, Nathan, like you were saying earlier, splashed by a car. He was brilliant, and it was like I completely forgot my struggles when I was talking to him. And the only reason I was talking to him was for my mental health. And I thought that was brilliant the way he did it. And I think, yeah, just talk to people and try and forget what rubbish is going on right now, because hopefully it will end soon. Might not be really close to ending, but it will end eventually. Fingers crossed. Well, we think.
Hopefully, yeah.
This government, who knows? Ooh, I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, and I just wanted to say that for now. We'll get on to the lighthearted stuff now. We say lighthearted, but it won't be as down in the dumps as that was. But I just felt we needed to start off the podcast like that today. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. And we'll talk about cricket now. So Australia-India recently. Matt, you're a massive cricket fan. Lots of stuff going on there. There's been racism. There's been the Steve Smith stuffing on the wicket drama. And then, so yeah, just get into that for us quickly. What are your opinion on the whole of the last Test match?
Yeah.
Start with the Steve Smith drama. What is your opinion on that?
Okay, so there were a few there was one quite disturbing incident, and then one particularly dodgy incident. So there's quite a disturbing incident. We've had India-Australia Test match, the third Test of the series in Sydney. And we've got 25% capacity crowd in the ground, 48,000 seater ground. So we've had about 12,000 people there, give or take. And there was a report that I think it was day 3, a section of the crowd was racially abusing some of the Indian players. I think we should point out that it's utterly reprehensible. It has no play anywhere. We're talking about the serious issues that affect sport. We've just talked about mental health. This is another one. It's just vile. It should be eliminated. There are people doing a lot of good work towards it. But it's just really disheartening to see that even when the ground isn't full, and it's not full for reasons that we're all aware of, in times when we should be coming together, we're all human, we should be supporting one another, and it's just so horrible to see something like that. And I think more so because cricket is used in a phrase, it's just not cricket, as in it's not good behaviour. And then to see that in a sport that I love, and I know you guys love it as well, it's really quite horrible. It gets you. It doesn't make you feel good. But any sport fan, anyone caught doing that, anyone who they can prove doing that, just banned for life.
I completely agree. And I think the worst bit is we've all wanted fans back in every sport possible for so long. And Australia is ahead of the game because obviously their government's doing very well with coronavirus over there compared to here. But no, it's awful. And we've had experience of that in football even recently when the fans came back in the Millwall boos. I was fuming at that. And the fact that it's happening again so soon, especially with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, which I'm a big advocate of. I support it massively. I go to protests and everything. To hear it's happened again, and Ashwin even said it's been happening for 10 years. Every time he's gone to Australia, he gets racially abused by the crowd. I think it's just awful. And with a minimum capacity fan, you should find it easier to find those people. You got cameras everywhere. You should easily identify those people. And yeah, like you said, ban them for life. And yeah, it's rubbish. And I know I said that we'd talk about more lighthearted, but this is a proper issue we do need to talk about. And I really felt rubbish when, Matt, you told me in the middle of the week. I didn't follow the India-Australia series as much as I should have. But when these incidents came out, fully researched them, watched it. And now that's the first of a string of incidents. But it's still, I think, the worst one, obviously. I mean, racism has no space anywhere in this world. I wish people that ever had those views would just get out. Not die, but get out, you know what I mean? Nathan, what do you think about the whole aspect? Because obviously, I know you're not the biggest cricket fan, but just...
Oh, yeah. It's just the fact that most of them probably haven't gone to a game in ages, and they've used that. And it's 25, so a lot of people missed out. They've used that, like... what's the word? I forgot the word. The priority tickets or whatever.
Yeah.
Do that is not great.
It's not the best way to come back. Put it that way. Is this the first? Is this the first test that had people in?
No, they've been. They've had more people in. I mean, like you said, Australia have done quite well.
Yeah, I mean, other series.
No, the other two have had crowding. But the fact remains, it's Nathan, what you were saying about with Ballot, I think was that what you meant, or
something like that? Yeah, just any word really.
about fans coming back, and possibly they've got a ticket ahead of people who wanted one. You know, like I said, 48,000 seat ground, an India Test, it probably would sell out. Certainly for the first couple of days, it probably would, and people maybe who didn't get a ticket and then they sat at home watching that and they see that and they think, that guy's in my seat. You know.
I just think, personally, it's like...
They said that, I would never say that. And it just fosters that deep divide. That's why we have to eliminate it.
It's 2021, and the fact that we're speaking about it on this podcast, it's our second episode doing a new podcast, and we're already talking about
racism. Of the year, it's already happened.
It proves how bad the issue still is, and anyone that thinks it isn't, like, I still can't comprehend if you ever would think like that. Carry on, Nathan.
Sport and governance don't really help either by just like giving pansy fines. Like they need to be stricter if it really wants to change.
I don't even know what they've fully done to those Millwall supporters, so it proves they're not obviously doing anything massive. Because I even thought, do you remember when the Millwall game? Sorry, going off topic a bit here, but when the Millwall game after they played QPR. And they didn't. They said their way of doing it was standing in solidarity, but they didn't take the knee. I thought that was the wrong way to go about it personally. As in, they then stopped taking the knee, so it felt to me. I think they've been taking it since, but that game was. People would have been happy that they're not taking the knee anymore. They're Millwall fans. It's like they got what they want in a way. I could have got the wrong take on this completely, and anyone can comment or say I've got it wrong, but they didn't take the knee after. And yes, they did a great thing showing equality and that there was no place for it in sport, and that was great. But I still don't know why they took taking the knee out of the equation.
There are some players
that confused me. That did confuse me the way they went.
He doesn't support the Black Lives Matter movement. Obviously, he wants change, but he doesn't believe Black Lives Matter movement is the right way. So there are some people who don't. Lyle Taylor, the guy who plays for Nottingham. Lyle Taylor? Yeah, he plays for Nottingham.
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest. Yeah.
I know that.
So, yeah.
I've seen some people say that taking the knee isn't. People say we shouldn't be taking the knee because it's not making.
Les Ferdinand said it as well, I think.
But I think that's wrong. I think they should take the knee as long as possible because people, the ones that are saying it doesn't matter to take the knee anymore, that is exactly why they're still taking the knee, because people need to understand it's still important. Because, the cricket now, the issues are still going on.
They say they need more than just taking it, because I don't actually know what else has happened besides taking a knee. I haven't heard anything else. And that's what Les Ferdinand said. He said, all right, it's good, but we need to build on it, which I
know we do need to build on it, don't get me wrong, but I don't think not taking the knee is the way to build on it. I think you might as well keep the knee, because it's important. It keeps it in people's minds. And then move forward from it, and you eventually will have the Kick It Out campaign, and they've still got the Black Lives Matter or the Kick It Out on their sleeves and stuff. And I think you just got to keep the awareness going. Like Lewis Hamilton says, you can't stop now. And the cricket has erased it more, and I hope it keeps on going because obviously it's such a massive problem. And now moving on again, you're now going from that subject to a cheater again, Steve Smith. Unbelievable batsman, don't get me wrong. Unbelievable, especially against England. In that test, he got 131, so he was showing his brilliance again. Why did he need to scuff the pitch? That is my question. What is your opinions on it, boys?
Well, it's a really, really difficult one because he's obviously it's far less clear cut than the previous incident, but I sent it to a friend of mine. I sent the footage to a friend of mine, and he came back with once a cheater, always a cheater. And Steve Smith has made his own bed, hasn't he? He's everything he now does, or everything he has done since the ball tampering incident. Just briefly, there was an incident in South Africa, a test in South Africa 3 years ago, where Steve Smith, captain of the Australian national team at the time, him, David Warner, the vice captain, and opening batsman Cameron Bancroft, they hatched up a plot to tamper with the ball. So that is to say, when the ball has certain rough marks on it, it will move in such a way. So if it's got rough marks on this side and it's smooth on this side, the wind will go over this side faster, and thus it'll dip and tip like that and make it harder to play. You are allowed to smooth the ball, the smooth side. You're not allowed to rough up the rough side, and that's what they were doing. Cameron Bancroft had a little bit of, I think it was sandpaper taped.
Yeah, he had sandpaper in his pocket. So
yeah. Anyway, that's the backstory. They got banned for a year. It outraged the nation. They got banned for a year. Cameron Bancroft 9 months. They got stripped of any captaincy, and now they're back. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anything that Steve Smith now does will be forever looked upon with extra suspicion. And then you do have to wonder if it was another member of that Australian team, if it was, I'll just pick a name out of thin air, if it was Marnus Labuschagne, if it was Will Pukowski, if it was any member of that team who've done that, there might have been a little, oh, what's he doing that for? There wouldn't have been any sort of this furore. And the fact that there has been this furore, whether Steve Smith intended to do it in a malicious way or not, is Steve Smith's fault. Did he intend to do it in a malicious way? Personally, this might be a little bit controversial, but I will say no. I will say he didn't intend to do it in a malicious way. He shouldn't have done it.
I think we could set up a debate here, Matt, now.
Well, he shouldn't have done it. Absolutely shouldn't have done it. The coaches defended him, didn't they, by saying, oh, he's got these quirks.
Weird tendencies. Like, that's
shadow batting, i.e. batting, assuming the posture and doing all that without actually
why is he
have that in your hand. But should he have done it? No. Did he mean to do it in a malicious way? I'm going to say no, because when you look at the footage, I'm not sure what he actually does to make it to make the batsman's guard. So obviously, when the batsman comes out, he takes his guard, he rubs a little line in the pitch so that he knows where his stumps are, so he knows what he can play at, and what he can leave. But Steve Smith, he doesn't drag his foot across the line. He doesn't move it away. He deepens it a little bit. So again, he shouldn't be doing it. But was it malicious? Harry, you said a debate. Go on, what's your...
So now, my personal opinion is I just don't like Steve Smith now. Maybe because of the amount of pain he's caused me as an England cricket fan, and also what he did before. You might be right as in he didn't mean it 2 minutes, but I mean, why would he do it? I still don't understand. I think, and I don't quite, I need to stop moving my hands. I don't quite understand why he does it. There's literally no reason, because Rishabh Pant is batting. Yes, I do agree that it won't make any impact on the markings. It's day 5, the wicket's worn, it's not going to make any impact, but it's just the fact of him doing it, there's no need. He did it for a reason, I think. I truly believe that he did it for a reason.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to... I think it's a really awkwardly pitched one. It's really difficult to defend it. Like I'm saying, he shouldn't have done it. But it's really difficult to say he actually did anything wrong. It's really difficult to actively attack it.
Is that because it's in the...
You can't really defend it either. And I think the main line of defence, like I said, you can't defend it. The main line of defence that Justin Langer, the Australian head coach, adopted was that Steve Smith's a bit of a weirdo.
You can't use being a weirdo as a
really weak defence. So if Justin Langer's coming up with a weak defence like that, then there's... Yeah, but... I think
you can't.
The senior member of the Australian team will know he shouldn't have done that.
But I think the whole test screams Australia going back to their old ways with the whole... I know that Tim Payne always has done the sledging, but this was another level. He called him a whatever head. And he said nobody on the team likes you and stuff like that. And
he's done that before, hasn't he?
He dropped a load of catches for India. Luckily, he dropped a load of catches. And then Steve Smith doing that, it just puts the spotlight back on Australian team that didn't need to be there. They sorted their reputation out to a degree. Like, they started performing well. I thought Payne had done a decent job as a captain, but it's just put the spotlight back on them. Smith in a bad way. Why did he need to do it? I think, like you said, though, Langer's defence proves that, I mean, just because he's a weirdo doesn't mean he should do it. Yes, it's not in the law book, but he is sort of trying to tamper with the pitch. He is.
He is. And scraping the pitch, it is tampering.
I don't think you can really defend.
Ball tampering, this is pitch tampering.
Yeah. So my dad said earlier, can a leopard change its spots? I believe no in this case, and Smith is still and always will be a cheat. Don't know what Nathan's opinion is on this. So Nathan, take it away.
Always cheats.
Well, if I don't really know much about it, but that sounds if Australia do want to change their ways and have a new look, maybe they do need to get rid of all these older players and cheats or whatever they are.
Nathan, okay, I'll equate it to an example for football. Luis Suarez, he's always going to be a cheat, isn't he? Steve Smith, not in the same way. He doesn't bite people, but Suarez bit people 3 times. What do you think about that? Will Suarez always be a cheat? Well, can he ever?
No, but like, say if he dives to a penalty, like he's not. Well, no, that's a bad example. Like he's not. Everything he does is not like cheating, though, is it? Like
Yeah, but
It's
it's still
just
Luis Suarez's character, isn't it? Like, I loved Luis Suarez when he was
yeah.
at Liverpool. He's not the nicest man going. Don't get me wrong. He bites people, so he's a cannibal. But like, he's not a cannibal, but
He's just into that, all right.
but no, but he always has been a little, I don't know, like Diego Costa, the ones that just really get under your skin if you're the.
He just niggles you, don't he? Yeah. He knows how to annoy you.
Win at all costs, really, isn't it?
But yeah, so he's still got that in him, and I think it's the same with Smith. He's still got that cheating instinct, or any way possible to win, like you said. With Suarez, do you not think he still does that? Like 2 years ago, when he played Liverpool in the Champions League, we won 4-0. He was flopping all over the place. He was winding us up when he celebrated in the first leg and stuff. He's still got that in him. He's still a dirtbag. Don't get me wrong, brilliant footballer, but he's still that person.
I think, yeah. It's interesting that we're comparing it to football, and we're easily able to find these examples of football players cheating, because diving is cheating. I mean, that's a whole other debate, maybe. But yeah. If you ask me, diving is cheating. But again, if you come back to what I said maybe 10 minutes ago, so the whole idea that it's just not cricket. Cricket being a sport that prides itself on fairness and, you know, the laws of cricket, and the gentleman's game and all that. And I think it's bright. It shines brighter when cricketers do it, because of the way cricket set it up as this kind of holier than thou type attitude. I mean, it's kind of, so many do it in football that it doesn't really show up that much.
It's normal, yeah. For somebody to dive, it's normal.
Diver, I mean, you could if you tried hard enough.
But VAR it's quite difficult.
VAR has made it more difficult, but then.
Yeah.
But in cricket,
we're getting on to healthier, aren't we?
We're getting, yeah. Don't get me started on VAR, Jesus.
We'll do that another time.
But then you have that in cricketers, and you've got like Hawkeye and stuff. Yes, it's for batting and a batting incident, but can you not move that to other incidents, or is that another precedent?
Well, you've got once that happens, you'll be moving it every single incident. It'll just get out of hand. But then VAR, imagine doing it for every free kick. It'll just be.
Yeah,
like a 50-hour
game
or whatever.
With cricket, there's not loads of incidents you can do. It's not football where they're running around all the time. I feel like there's a couple more with incidents of importance like that. They could do it. Maybe ball tackling.
It was the stump cam that caught Smith. The little camera. So it was the broadcast, the extra angle that probably caught him doing it.
And like we said with the races, and there's eyes everywhere. So for cheaters on the pitch, or whatever sport or whatever, there's going to be eyes on you. And I don't get why these people don't. I feel like they don't understand that, and they're disconnected from the fact that.
But I would probably say they don't understand anything.
I guess you could be though, as in like if you're on a pitch, do you?
He has got away with it once before.
Pardon?
So he's got away with it before. So maybe he thinks, you know, if he didn't get away with it, he got only a year ban. Maybe it should have been longer.
He cried though. He cried and he showed so much remorse, and it feels like he's going back to that. And he's like, I've got away with it. One lads, I got only.
Well, that's probably just an act, to be fair.
Exactly.
The crying.
It's a bit like I feel like there's examples of people like that before. People don't get annoyed with me. I love Heung-min Son. As in, I don't love him, but he's a great footballer and he is a nice, innocent guy. But he's one of those players. But he makes a bad challenge and gets a red card. Oh no! Like cries. He gets really emotional about it. It's like just deal with it. Like I got the Andre Gomez one when he acts. It wasn't his fault when that horror challenge wasn't his fault. And
the one with Chelsea where he kicked Rudiger and he started crying. That was like he clearly kicked him out.
It's like. And people say he's such an innocent, lovable guy, and he can be. But with those incidents, I don't agree with that. As in, I feel like he does play on it. Players play on their personalities. Like Luis Suarez and Diego Costa play on their personalities, don't they? Let's be honest. And a person like Son play on his innocence, and maybe in those situations can try and get out of those. That is a deeper conversation, but that is the way I feel, and maybe that's how Steve Smith's trying it. Did the crying. He got a 1-year ban. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Got his captaincy taken away, but then he's back playing. Arguably, when he came back, better than he ever was, especially in that Ashes series. And now it feels like he's going back to square up. Going back to who he really is. He's got away with the first thing. He's back playing cricket. How many more things will he do? But he's back in the spotlight for another tampering thing. And I think that's the problem. It's a very similar incident, although it's not with a ball this time. It's with the pitch.
It's what you were saying, Harry, about it being with that win at all cost mentality, and when cricket descends into that I think the whole reason that the ball tampering scandal broke, or that it was thought up, was because the South Africans and the Australians had quite a rancorous exchange, and it was all quite unpleasant. And I think a similar thing was happening, like you mentioned with Tim Payne with the sledge, when he said, "At least my teammates like me." He's tried that before. I mean, if you ask me, that's the insult of a 6-year-old. And somebody told me,
that's very true.
Told me when I was 11 to shut up, no one likes you. 11-year-old, yeah, nice work, Tim Payne, 30-something captain of Australia. But I think that's what happens, and I think it brings out this side of professional sportsmen, this win at all costs thing. But it has to be, we have to come up with a way to tackle that and to make sure that they never want to resort to cheating. They have to live with themselves. I would point out Steve Smith was very contrite when he was caught ball tampering. I mean, would he have been so contrite if he wasn't caught and he'd won? Would he have known in his head, I won that by cheating? Would he have cared? That's a whole other debate. But he was very contrite. And maybe, just maybe, a leopard can change its spot. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
I know. I think people can change. I do think people can change. And if it's happened once, people can change afterwards. But what I mean is if people then show signs of doing it again, which he is showing signs of, he's not done anything to the magnitude what he did before, but he's showing signs of, people like Luis Suarez actually did it again, can you then start to believe that they were really that remorseful on something like that? I'm talking sport level. I'm not talking about social issues yet. And I want to say one thing. Nathan, you look so interested in this conversation right now.
Yeah, I am. I really am on the edge of my seat.
You're sitting in the dark, hand on the face.
Not the biggest cricket fan, are you? It's fair to say.
Yeah, you're not the biggest cricket fan, are you, Nathan? Let's be honest. I'm sorry.
No, not really.
You through that.
It's all right.
We can move if you want. We got.
Oh, I know. Steve Smith's scumbag.
So
we'll wrap that.
We'll wrap that. I still think Steve Smith's a cheat. That is my opinion. But we'll move on to now. A bit less depressing now. But
we need to start paying Josh then.
Well, I guess it's a bit less. Oh yeah, we'll have to ask.
Josh. Oh yeah, by the way, I was just you're talking about Australia.
Oh yeah, there's the.
I'm not really.
What's your flag behind you, Harry? By the way,
my flag.
Yeah, in the mirror. Is that Chile?
It's not a mirror. No, it's the Texas flag. I'm in my brother's room. Shout out to Jake. This bit is going in the podcast. I'm in my brother's room because mine's about to get decorated. I'm using his desk to smash you guys at FIFA, basically. But no, so that's the Texas flag because Jake went to UT Austin in 2016, 2017. Signed picture of Torres up there as well. And that actual picture leads into as well because that is when he scored against United, 2009-10 season, pass Van der Sar, top right-hand corner. And we'll talk about Liverpool United later, but what I want to talk about now is COVID in football. We're looking like we could be pausing the season. They really want to crack down on players hugging and celebrations and stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
With Aston Villa, obviously, going down quite bad with the virus, lots of games being postponed. I think it is coming up. I personally really, really wanted football to stay on. And I think people are right to then go, maybe they shouldn't be celebrating hugging each other. But government seems to be putting a lot into it and getting really annoyed at them when I feel like a lot of these problems, they're trying to distract from the fact that they've caused a lot of these problems. But anyway, we'll move from that. But no, what do you think? Should football stay on? Should we just keep with the 2 tests a week, the testing twice a week and try and, because personally for me, I think it should because it's like we were talking about mental health earlier. It's massive to keep football on for so many people. It's massive. But do you think football should stay on? And what do you think about them cracking down on this whole hugging each other during the celebration?
Yeah, I think it should. But the Premier League, I don't think they've done a great job during it. Like the game cancellations, like 2 hours before the Fulham a couple of days ago, they have done a shocking job. And then the hugging is stupid. Like they're at corners like 4 or 5 times a game, and they're grappling each other. Other teams, why can't they just celebrate and hug at the end? Like
I agree with that. Actually, because I think
And the shirt swapping, like, I think the shirt swapping, that's stupid as well. Like, they are literally spent 90 minutes together, and why can't they just swap a shirt? Like,
I think the problem with
they get tested every week as well.
I understand the shirt swapping a bit. I mean, they can wash the shirt at the end of the day, can't they? And I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
But I think the whole thing is the fact that they've been tested twice a week. I think is that makes it a bit like
At least,
take a bit off them. You know, they're the most tested people in the country.
yeah,
If you want
yeah.
3 times a week, but like as in, I understand why maybe not Hogan as well. But I mean, they should cut them a bit of slack. Like in the emotion of yesterday's game, Fulham equalised, massive equaliser for them. Jumping on each other, you understand that. If you try and take that away from the game, I think it's hard.
Still a bit robotic, isn't it?
They should, yeah.
No emotion.
They should say it.
Especially without fans.
Yeah, that's true. And they should tell them, try and limit it. Don't get me wrong, because we don't want it to get worse. We don't want more games getting cancelled. But at the same time, is it the biggest problem? Really?
Also, it's only being brought to attention because like 5 or 6 idiots like Mendy and Kyle Walker, and then like the Tottenham players as well. Like it's only those lot. Yeah.
Kyle Walker's done it
twice. Can't get enough.
3 times. He loves it.
Mendy did it twice in like 2 days. He did the New Year's one, and then he wanted another. He flew a Greek girl out to England.
Mendy flew a Greek.
Yeah, no, yeah, he did it twice. Yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He's like my dad's, right? He compares him to Balotelli in the way that he just really doesn't care. Like he'll do his own thing. Like I'm Benjamin Mendy. I can do what I want. Right? But that's the problem. You've got those idiots that are doing these things that make football look bad as a whole. But it's like what 5 or 6 players. Like I think,
like they are probably the most protected players in the country.
Exactly.
Or it should be.
They get tested so many, and if they keep going with they get tested, eventually there's a breakout. Pause those games, definitely postpone them, obviously. And Villa and Everton's been postponed this weekend, I think. And like,
maybe they should just take 2 or 3 weeks off.
But then I feel like if they do that, will we ever get back? And then the season's in doubt.
Yeah, no.
We're already behind. We're in January and we played 17 games. At this point, we've normally played 22, 23, I'd say, mid-January. We're already behind.
Well, if it does get postponed, then the Euros probably won't go ahead as well. So that's probably...
Yeah, it's just a tough one. And we're at the point now that if it got stopped now, or it got paused and it never got going again, this season would be abandoned because we've only played 17 games. It'd be different if it was 25, 30 like last season. But we're at the point now where we're still before the halfway point. We've not really got into the nitty-gritty. I guess we're getting into the nitty-gritty now, like with the title talk, the big game this weekend. But like, if it got paused and never got going again, that season's done. If you do longer than 2-3 weeks, there's no way you're finishing that season before July. No chance. And then Euro.
Yeah, with the FA Cup as well. Yeah, it's difficult.
Well, the Carabao Cup's been moved to April, but they say that's because of fans. They want fans in, don't they?
Yeah, it's just players need to be more aware. Like, I think that's it. Clubs need to be more harsher, but just...
I think, if those players... Well, cricket, they've done really well, but I know that Tom Banton's had a problem with it because he said the whole biosecure bubble makes him mentally really struggles. But, like, with football, they're still in normal life, though. Like, they're not really taken away from normal life, so it's easy for them to catch it. But we're in a lockdown now. The only place other than the supermarket they should really be going is the football pitch or the training pitch. And if they all wear their masks in the training pitch, they're all getting tested, I think let football go on. That's my opinion. I think they might not have handled it the best, but it's the most safe thing to do right now, as in with the fact that we're all out here, we're not getting tested. So if we go see random people, then we're going to cause a risk to people. But with them being tested twice a week, and if they're proven to be negative, I don't see how you can take football away from them. That's my opinion.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think football, they've got to make it, we've got to make it very, very clear the privileges that they've got. They have to be explicitly aware, that they're being allowed to really almost carry on as normal.
Yeah, I guess that is very true.
I mean, I know, honestly, don't get me wrong, there are so many people. I'm not saying that going home, going to work is any different. There are millions of key workers out there. There are millions of essential workers who are doing a sterling job. But they're doing their job in dangerous times. Footballers aren't doing the job in dangerous times. They are, I mean, show me a professional footballer who doesn't enjoy his job.
I've got one. Danny Rose. Danny Rose hates football. I mean,
All right, my fault for inviting the
Sorry, I didn't.
The thing is, they're not being forced to do it. They're not being forced to do it to feed the family. They don't have to go to work and risk dealing with somebody, and they might get infected. They might get infected, but they're not going to work under any real, like you said, they're getting tested. They're the most tested people in the country, and they have those extra privileges, and they need to be explicitly aware of the really, really privileged position they find themselves in. I think the celebration thing, it's a funny one. Yes, it would take the emotion out of the game, but I think it reflects the times we're living in. I mean, it's really difficult because it's almost an involuntary response, isn't it? You know, somebody scores an 85th minute winner or a 90th minute equaliser.
30-yard roller, you're not just going to walk back.
But like this weekend, imagine Salah scores in the 92nd minute to beat Man United in a title win, in a title race match, and then just goes, and fist bumps. Like that just wouldn't feel right. I'm not saying, they probably should. With most goals, they should be like, try not to. Don't get me wrong, but then, I mean, taking that out, as in having a go at them and threatening cancelling football because a 90-minute winner might go in and they all hug each other.
Imagine Lanzini. Like, he just scored a bang against Tottenham, and all he has to do is walk back to the spot
I know,
to make it 3-all.
You are right with the fact that it reflects the time we're in, but at the same time, football, until the last couple of weeks, has gone on since June very safely, in my opinion. There's not been that many cases. The problem is, like you say, the players need to know that outside of the fact that they get to see all these people right now, when I don't even get to see anybody outside of my mum and dad right now, they get to see basically the people they see all the time, their mates, because they are mates all the time. They get to play footy with their mates day in, day out, week in, week out. They should understand they don't need to do stuff outside of football right now. That can go on the back burner. And as long as they do that, football should be okay. Do
you know if it's a problem in any other country, or is it just England, like players in other countries? Because I haven't seen anything in Spain or Italy or Germany or anything like that.
I haven't seen it, but everybody just celebrates as normal. I'd noticed it recently I saw a video on Twitter where it was Erling Haaland, the first game post-lockdown, they all socially distant celebrated. But since I'm pretty sure everybody, I think at the start people did, but I guess June, July, we were in a time when we were getting 500 cases a day, and the problem is now we're getting 65,000 cases a day or something like that. And it is a lot worse now, but I think there's still, football has a program in place where you can go on. And I think until it becomes like a lot worse, I think it needs to get worse for them to risk taking football away.
What is the point of worse? Like, teams are already failing.
Exactly. I would say, I agree, Nathan. What have you got a point where you cut off
5 teams not able to play this week?
I guess we'll put it right now. Villa are the only team where there's a real
It happened to Fulham. Now it's happened to Villa.
Yeah, in the Premier League, it's happened to Newcastle. But it's not happening to loads at one weekend. It's not like every game's getting called off. Like, we're still getting through a lot of games every week. I'm talking as in, say, 5 or 6 teams at one time all have a coronavirus outbreak and you have to cancel a weekend. That's what I mean. That's the level you go, okay, stop the Premier League. But I'm talking about right now, Villa are the only team I think they're the only team this game week that you have to take. Aren't they?
It also does make... Yeah, it is. It also makes the table very confusing because every team has 10 games in hand on another team, and it's also confusing.
Yeah, but they're doing the right thing. I thought there was a big thing over how Fulham had to play Tottenham last minute.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I think it was the right thing to do, though. I mean, if there's a slot for a game, there's a slot for a game.
It is unfair, though.
Yeah, but they last week they training for Tottenham last week, they would have looked at video and trained for Tottenham. So it's not like they're going off nothing. So they still can.
Yeah, but like mentally though, like to get your like, I don't know, maybe, but it wasn't a problem. They did all right.
Yeah,
so.
they did very well. So I don't know. I think that is the way forward. We need to cram these games in if we're going to get this.
Another problem is the cups as well. Like the cups are an absolute mess. Like Shrewsbury still have to play Southampton, everything like that.
Well, the problem for me, the issue that I think we've got, I mean, well, this is all very Premier League centric, isn't it? And they can afford the testing and all that. And obviously, ultimately, when you're talking about it affecting the Euros, the Premier League is the one that you have to consider. And so the top leagues, the top leagues around Europe are the ones you have to consider. But then you've got the Championship, you've got League One. We've had, I think it's nearly 100 games postponed because of outbreak. And, these clubs, League One, League Two clubs, they can't afford £50,000 a week. Is that what it is? To test their players twice a week, they can't afford it. That's deeply unsustainable. The Premier League gets hundreds of millions and billions of pounds raining down on it from broadcast contracts. The League One, League Two, I'm going to pluck a team out of thin air. Harrogate Town, to me, League Two, they're, how much do they make from broadcast contracts? It'll be virtually nothing. How much did they make from fans coming through the gate? Nearly everything. It's They live. I mean, they won't be. They're not. We're not talking destitute, but we are talking that deeply unsustainable to spend that.
Those players live a bit more of a normal life.
Wow. Yeah, it's like
so it's way more likely.
I follow the whole. Don't have a go at me. Don't laugh at me, everybody. I follow hashtag United on Twitter. So, the team, Spencer Owen, created a team a few years ago. But I follow him on Twitter as well. And obviously, they've people behind the scenes, non-league football, they want to null and void it, don't they? They want to null this season's, and he is fuming about that.
I saw that.
It's the second season in a row they'd be null and voided. And it's like, where do you go from it? The big problem, we're moaning about a few. Sorry, I realise I'm a big problem with that. We're moaning about a few games or a couple of weeks of Premier League football being postponed. But we're talking now, I guess, if you talk National League or below, talking about clubs going completely under. National, non-league, I guess, could become non-existent if another couple of seasons of this go like that. That way, the clubs can't carry on if every season is getting null and voided. It's like they've played. Over the last 2 seasons, they've played, 40 games, 35, 40 games for no reason. The one thing Spencer Owen said, why can't you put those two seasons together to make one season points per game and then make a table out of that? What do you think of that?
The problem is they also guaranteed that, I think he said they guaranteed that it wouldn't happen again, and it's happened again quicker than last season. So, yeah, I do like the idea about the points per game though, because something needs to happen.
Yeah, they need to get an income from somewhere, but they're not going to get that.
I think Sean Dyche said was players should get the vaccine. I know that sounds bad, but it does kind of make sense because the money they put into testing can be reinvested into the NHS, which is what he said.
Yeah, I think that was a very good point actually, because I think with the whole I think that the elderly and vulnerable should be vaccinated first, but also the key workers, all the key workers as well. And then I guess football could, in a way, be like tier 3 or rank 4 of the people that in maybe a month or so get vaccinated. I think they need to get through these. I think after the 15th of February, if they can vaccinate football teams, go for it.
Yeah. I think it's happening in every sport as well.
I think it's when he saw it, obviously, when you see it, you think, what on earth is he on about? That's just a load of rubbish. it's just rubbish. But when you read into it, you think, oh, maybe he's got a point. But then, as soon as you think, oh, maybe he's got a point, I kind of just immediately thought, oh, but there's so many people that need it ahead of footballers. It's like, yes, they should be, here in the queue. But then you think, oh, well, that puts them below them.
Yeah,
like our parents and stuff would be
below. Point, but it don't really work.
That's why I'm saying I'm classed as not tier, I don't know what it's called. I'm classed as like a number 6. So I will get the vaccine, as in my vulnerability is like class 6 or something. They're on class 1 and 2 at the moment. So I think the top 4 classes or whatever, the really important vulnerable people and important workers should get the vaccine way before the footballers. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying footballers should. But I'm saying at one point when it gets to people like me, I'm going to be okay. The people that I think in my class 6, I've got it because I've got asthma. Apparently, that's why I'm in this region. I reckon when it gets to those types of people, class 6, maybe class 7, maybe I was wrong by saying class 4 earlier. Then you could start to think about footballers getting vaccinated. I think.
Yeah.
Because you did make a good point about the money distribution, because the testing costs a lot of money, and that can be reimbursed into the NHS. I see his point.
I see his point.
I'm not sure. I may have contradicted myself a couple of times here. I'm not sure. I definitely say, yeah, great idea, go for it. But I think it wouldn't be a bad thing to think about maybe putting them into a class 6 area of getting vaccinated around the same time as people like me that have asthma.
I think if it gets to like under 40s or whatever the peers are, I think that's when we should start like vaccinating footballers if it's possible, because it is, yeah. I think
it's a tough one though, because you don't want them to go, oh, footballers prioritised again, being all that, because footballers get a lot. They do get a lot. And I think the reason right now I want them to kind of have the testing stuff is because I want something to watch during this drab lockdown. I think it's important that we do have these sports on and these things going on to keep high spirits. Like Neil Warnock said in a Middlesbrough thing in the Northeast, they need football. They need this. People need this during a lockdown.
Yeah, I didn't realise how important it was until the first lockdown to people. Like, I can live without football, I think, but I didn't realise a lot of people did not depend on it, but I think it was a relief for them. Escape.
In part of people's lives, yeah, it is.
Yeah, they go to away and home just to get that taken away from you. They work their lives around football.
It's hard enough having. I'm somebody that goes to a few games a season at Liverpool. I'm a big Liverpool fan, like really passionate. But obviously, there's people that are lucky enough that are in the area go home and away. To have home and away taken on you is one thing because of the coronavirus, the right thing. But then football to go completely, can't even watch it on the telly, especially now in the winter when there's not many things you can do to distract yourself other than when you've got work to do. That is really tough for the die-hard fans. Someone like me as well, I watch football. Maya, my girlfriend, can testify, I watch football all the time. That is massive, massive part of my life. And if you take that away from so many people, you're going to really struggle. A lot of people are going to struggle. And at one point, you do have to think about people's mental health because COVID's really, really important and it's really scary right now. We're living in scary times. But also, mental health-wise, we're living in very scary times too. And you've got to find a balance there. I think if you take football or sports away, a lot of people will struggle. So,
Harry, if football does get taken away, I'm pretty sure the Bulgarian Football League was on during the whole pandemic. So you got that.
And Russia have.
I
don't know, but I don't know. I've kind of detracted myself. I don't want to talk about COVID for too long, as in COVID itself, but I kind of stopped looking at the numbers. Kind of stopped trying to follow it too much. Looking at other countries, what's going, because it's really depressing. Like every day you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, for goodness sake. My mum watches it all the time. It's on the news, downstairs, always on. So I find out a lot through her because obviously she works for the NHS as well. But like you got to, football's a distraction from all of that, all of what's rubbish with Corona right now. And I think otherwise all there is to watch is the news. There'd be no football, and we've got the transfer window. Got to have the new players playing.
Anything you're looking forward to in there? Any transfers you want, Liverpool?
Well, Liverpool-wise, there was a thing. They saw Eder Militao, plays for Real Madrid, centre-back.
Yeah.
6-month loan. That is a great thing because we don't need a centre-back in the long run, as in a starting centre-back for when Van Dijk, Gomez and Matip are all back. We are all okay. We do know we need a backup. We need someone like Sven Botman or someone eventually, or Ben White eventually. Yeah. But someone like Eder Militao that will want first-team football we don't need for the long run. But he's a great filler of this 6-month period where we're going to struggle to have 2 starting centre-backs. I think he's he'd be a great addition for the 6 months.
Fabinho's sick though, to be fair to him.
I think we need a centre back. If we're going to win the league, we need to sign a centre back. I've said that since the start of the transfer window. It's going to be really tough for us to retain our title if we don't sign a centre back. I don't think we can go through the whole season. Fabinho to stay fit and Matip to come in for a few games here and now before he pulls his little calf again or something, because he always gets it every 2 games. So Phillips and Williams have been decent since they've come in, really great experiences for them, but they're not the solution for the rest of the season. And neither's Henderson. People saying Henderson should go centre-back. I think Southampton proved it's not the right thing to do. I think we really... Adam and Atal. But I don't think we're going to sign anybody. I don't think we will.
Yeah, I think it'll be quite a quiet one.
Which is... I think it's going to be a quiet one for everyone, though. I've not really seen many rumours bouncing around for many teams.
I've only seen Luka Jovic go on loan to Frankfurt, I think.
That's incredible.
Hopefully he becomes good again, because he was a baller before he went to Real Madrid.
Yeah, he was really good. They made great business. I saw a thing earlier, 270k loan fee they signed him from Benfica or something, and then it rose to 8 million when they officially signed him. And they didn't officially sign him until just the month they sold him to Real Madrid, I think, something like that. And then he scored 17 league goals for them that 2018-19 season, and they sold him for 73 million euros. Yeah. And then got him back for the loan fee. It's incredible.
Yeah. They've all been doing quite bad, though. Him and Haller. And Rebic's been all right, but Haller's been a bit of a stinker, hasn't he?
He's on to Ajax now. I think people are harsh on Haller. I had a conversation with Ben Frisby, if you're watching this, big West Ham fan. He really likes Haller, and I bet he's gutted that he's gone. And basically, he said, and I believe him, he's very, very talented, but you can see that he
doesn't work on his own, though.
He's not got the highest work rate, though, has he? He strolls around the pitch. Like, when you got Antonio on the pitch as a real threat, he's hunting people down. And they lose that. They lost that when Haller was in the team. But Haller is has incredible technique, incredible shot. He's a very talented man, but he doesn't have the drive or anything for that, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. He's not. He can't play on his own up front. He needs him and Antonio, because I think when they did play together, he was very good. He scored, but he can't work on his own. He needs someone to play off up front.
Yeah,
so that's what I would do. So hopefully it works out.
I guess hopefully it really surprised me when I saw that news. I was like, what? He's going to Ajax?
Yeah.
There were no rumours or anything. It's a bit like when Fabinho joined Liverpool a couple of seasons ago. They're the best times. Literally, out of the blue, suddenly Liverpool had signed Fabinho. It was within a month.
Chelsea.
It's who for Chelsea?
Ziyech. No one knew what was going on, and then just
I didn't really know that one either, and it came out of the blue. I think those are the best ones, but this Haller one, I was like, what? He's going to Ajax, and it suddenly happened.
Oscar will be happy.
Who? Oscar, yeah. Well,
Oscar.
We'd have to ask him. I don't know, because is he going to be happy with that? But then who's
seen Traore?
Hunter.
Seen Traore and Dusan Tadic.
Tadic. What career change he had from Southampton, getting 3-4 goals a season. His first season at Ajax, he's banging him in. He's slowed down a bit now, though. But
he did bug off the whole of Real Madrid in one game.
Yeah, he did.
He ended someone's career. Was it? Who was the manager? Whoever they were.
Oh, Solari, I think.
Solari. Yeah.
I could be wrong there.
He's just disappeared since that performance.
But no, then with the transfers this January, I don't think there'll be many. Number one, because of COVID money struggles. I think that's one. And I don't think there's many players out there that people will get in January right now. Liverpool need players, but who could you see City signing in January? Who could you even see United signing? There could be big summer ones. I think personally the reason Liverpool aren't going for anybody this January is they're planning a big transfer this summer. They've saved the pot up. I reckon they're going big. Mbappe big. People might think I'm ridiculous for that, but I truly think maybe not Mbappe, but that style of transfer, Liverpool will go for a huge one.
Don't you just buy teams off relegated sides as well? So you'll probably just get some West Brom, Karlan Grant or something.
Why would we get Karlan Grant?
I don't know. It's just
At
something
least
Liverpool would do.
that Ajayi guy, he's a decent centre back. We can be. He's not great. That Pereira, he's got a few skills. Bit like a Shaqiri type. Put him
I
in.
think Chelsea might sign a keeper as well. I think Chelsea will get like Mendy's alright, but
Another keeper.
no, Donnarumma, his contract's run out, so got to hit him up.
When Mendy signed, everyone was like, "Oh, Mendy, he's great. 5 games, everyone was raving about him. Now he's struggling. Oh, let's get a new keeper." That's not.
Yeah, but he's better than Kepa. It's not difficult to be better than Kepa. I was better than Kepa in the first half of the Baines on Toast.
Why you say that? I'm joking.
I mean, a save. He can't do that.
Yeah, you were that game. You like De Gea. You know how De Gea always uses his legs. You just use.
Yeah, I don't dive.
I'm throwing him about everywhere. And then when I went in goal drunk, that wasn't a pretty sight. I think I was diving to the floor.
That ain't goal. That's a different story.
I was always telling you to use your arms. I was just using my arms too much. And I think a few of the times I should have just put my foot on. I might have saved it. But I tried to dive down and the goals are so small. Well, never going to happen.
But Matt, on the other hand, he's like Allison. He's like a cat.
I'll blame that on the drink. Easy blame on that one. And a big game this weekend. We've been talking about transfers, but I think the biggest thing we need to talk about, which is quite late in the podcast, to be honest, United Liverpool. Hopefully the podcast comes out before the result and you can watch it before we play. But United Liverpool, we've got the game coming up this weekend, and then we've got the FA Cup fixture the week after. Firstly, how do you think this weekend's going to go?
Liverpool win, obviously.
What'd you say?
Liverpool win, obviously.
Are you really confident that Liverpool are going to win?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Like, what? Why?
Well,
yeah.
When you look at, I know we are depleted. I know we've got no Virgil van Dijk, and that is a big loss. But I think, it's difficult to argue on the basis of the numbers because, they're top of the league. They are top of the league. It's January. They've managed it. But I just think, I'm probably being clouded. I am probably debating this from the heart rather than from the head. But I do think we've got the better team. Liverpool have got the better team. It's at Anfield. I know it's without fans, but it's at Anfield. And I think I'm confident that Liverpool will win. I know Man United have got players, but
I think you're right that we've got the better team. And I'm not trying to be a negative Liverpool fan here. I've sounded like it the last 2 podcasts, but I think we'll win. I'm not as confident as you are. Don't get me wrong, because United, they didn't look great against Burnley, but they have that winning rhythm, that instinct right now that I don't think we have currently. We've had for the seasons we've been lucky enough to watch the last few seasons, Liverpool absolutely trample teams basically, or find a way. But United seem like they've got that confidence, they've got that togetherness. I think if Liverpool win, it's a huge win, an absolutely massive win, and can change the course of the season. I think if United win, Liverpool are in deep doo-doo. I think Liverpool really need to win this game. We've not lost 3 on the bounce, but we've dropped 7 out of the last 9 points in the league. Yes, we beat Villa, the young boys of Villa at 4-1 in the FA Cup, but we didn't exactly look incredible, as Matt knows from our call at half-time when we were drawing 1-1, when I wasn't the happiest of blokes. But it's very, very pivotal that Liverpool win this game. Number 1, so that United don't get a 6-point lead on us. Keep the rhythm going, and also keep on City, because then puts pressure on City a bit, and I think it's absolutely pivotal Liverpool win this game, and I can't stress that enough. And if we don't, I think we'll really struggle. But United, it's not going to be like previous years where United haven't been great, and Liverpool will probably play better than we have done because it's a big game and it is United, and Liverpool play really well in big games even this season. But it's going to be a completely different ball game. United are going to come at our throats, and because they know without Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold struggles a bit more, because Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think, thinks... Well,
he's due a good game. He's due a good game.
He thinks he needs to defend more, and unfortunately, that just leaves us not as attacking. We're not as threatening attacking-wise, and his defending recently has been pretty poor. So we've struggled, I think, without Van Dijk. Even though Van Dijk's on the other side, he does play on the left-hand side with Robertson. I think without somebody commanding in his defence, Trent is struggling. And I think that is a key thing there. So who plays left wing for United? Is it Rashford?
Rashford. Yeah.
He's got the better of Trent before. That is a big battle in this game. I think that could win and lose this game. That right back, left wing battle.
I don't know why you're worried. I think it's going to be an easy win for Liverpool.
People are underestimating United. I saw just.
Huh? I don't know what I'd do, but if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wins the league, I'll flipping like get a buzz cut or something like that. I don't know. But
This is recorded, so if United win the league, I really hope they don't. But Nathan's shaving his head.
All right. Like, there's no way he is winning the league. He cannot win the league. It's the Premier League needs to go if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wins the league.
But it's weird because Pogba's suddenly turned into what everyone thought Pogba was going to be, but it's
window, that's right.
Yeah.
3-4 years after when we thought it was going to happen, he's just suddenly arrived. And against Burnley,
it always happens during a transfer window.
Yeah, I hope he drops off again, because you're right. United have their periods when they're very, very good, but they also have their periods when they're rubbish. Sorry, guys, we just had a few technical difficulties. Basically, Matt just got a call from the landlord that we are hopefully getting a house with next year, 3 of us and 3 others. So we just had to stop the podcast for a little bit. I can't exactly remember what I was saying when it was stopped, so editing will show, and you can take the mick out of me all you want. But I do remember talking about how Paul Pogba seems to have turned up again, and that is the driving force for United, and the fact that maybe United do have these good runs, but they do have bad runs. But in my opinion, I know these two think very differently, that it does feel a bit different this year. They have that winning mentality. I think people need to realise this is a tough game. Liverpool and United is a tough game. People have said Liverpool are going to win the last few games. They haven't. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough watch for me. I could be completely wrong, and I'll watch this back in a week and think I was an idiot. But and people will think I'm an idiot. But basically, I think Liverpool 3-2, very close game.
Liverpool 2-0, comfortable in the end.
Nathan?
3-1. Ole's not winning the league.
I don't think United will win the league, don't get me wrong, but they're definitely going to be in the mix. They will be there come June. They will. I think people need to realise that. They do need to realise that. And I hate United with a passion. I really hate United, like, strongly.
I'm just happy there's actually...
This isn't a...
You said this last week. But I'm happy there's actually a title race this year.
Yeah, so am I in a way. Actually, that's a lie. I loved smacking everyone every week and seeing us get to 99 points. Should have been more, but we got a bit slacked at the end. But it is good to see that it's not even just, it's so tight. And cousin Sam, I'm sorry, I didn't mention Everton in the running of top last week. He is right. And after their impressive win at Wolves this week, you can count Everton being in the race for at least top 4 by the end of the season.
What about Villa? Like, they're a weird one, because if they win their next 2 games in hand, they're 1 point behind Liverpool, and they haven't looked any signs of slowing down. When they did, they got back into form. So I really don't know. It
is interesting because you're right. They haven't shown signs of slowing down. They have lost or not got the best results recently, but they've always been a threat or played very well against. They played very well against Chelsea. Played very well against United. They look very good.
Very well against Liverpool.
Yeah, very well against Liverpool. And surely, eventually, with a team like Villa, you expect them to slow down, but maybe they won't. Same with Leicester. I expect them to slow down. United. Everton slow down a bit, but I think they'll get top 4, maybe. Maybe. That's a tough app. Maybe 5th. But I think United are in the hunt. People shouldn't count them out. They're going to be there at the end of the season. I think the main race is Liverpool City. Unless United win this weekend, then Liverpool are really struggling, like I said earlier. If Liverpool win this weekend, the main race is Liverpool City. But United are going to be there. I can count on it. Could be completely wrong. but I'm pretty sure they're going to be there come the end of the season, close to the top 2. You guys, agree? You guys don't agree, do you?
I've just got a feeling that they'll drop away. I think Ollie needs a little bit more wool on his back, and I just get the feeling they'll drop away. They're on a good run, but we've seen them have a good run in the past under Ollie and blow up.
Do you not think this is different though? They've had good runs, but this run is continued. Their away record has continued for months. That isn't just a little good run. That is, they've been winning lots away from home.
I don't understand how
since Liverpool last January.
I just don't understand how Bruno Fernandes is so good. Like every game, he's doing something.
Oh, he needs
it's a joke.
Pull a hamstring or something, please.
Yeah.
Henderson
just 2-foot him or something. Nah. I think I said that last week about
when you said break leg. Yeah, I think it is Bruno Fernandes has made an absolutely massive impact, but that is a bit like Suarez at Liverpool a few years ago. I'd compare it to when Suarez lifted the whole team.
Dijk at Liverpool.
Huh?
And Dijk at Liverpool as well.
I think it's a bit different because the quality Liverpool have as a team is probably a bit higher than United have with Bruno Fernandes. And Van Dijk was needed for that position. And it's why we won the league. And it's why But I think Bruno Fernandes, yes, I think he's up there, but I don't think it's quite the same in the fact that I still think United need a couple more. But they are...
They need a defender, a fast defender, but Bailly's quite good now, so it's all right.
Bailly is looking good. Shaw's one is I could go on about United all day as in the fact that I'm worried, but I still think they won't win the league, and I really don't like them, but I am worried, and I could be wrong, but I am worried. And we've got them in the FA Cup too. Liverpool never get good draws in the FA Cup. We got Chelsea last season. We always, not just the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. Liverpool get stuck with the hardest draws. Do you want to know who don't? Manchester City. Always get the pick of the bunch. They always get the easy draws. I'm getting up on my phone now, their draws from 2017, 2018 season onwards in the FA Cup. These are all their fixtures. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Off you go.
Burnley, Cardiff, Wigan, Rotherham, Burnley, Newport, Swansea, Brighton, Watford, Port Vale, Fulham, Sheffield Wednesday, Newcastle, Arsenal, semi-final, Birmingham, Cheltenham. Arsenal is the only top side, and that's arguable with how they've been this season, apart from recently. Arsenal, the only top side in that whole list for 3.
Don't diss Wigan.
Huh?
Don't diss Wigan.
Fair play, they beat them, so I guess you're right.
They did.
But, there's a point where you think, how does City always get the luck of the draw every
Also,
time?
the Champions League as well. It's always easy in the Champions League. I don't think I don't think it's dodgy. It's just lucky. There are a lot of bad teams. Obviously in the FA Cup and that, so it's bound to happen.
They literally, Matt, what are you going to say?
Two things. One, they've only won it once in that lot, haven't they? So clearly there's a reasonably difficult team. Could they manage to knock them out? And two, I totally believe this really quite passionately. If you want to be the best, it's a cliche, it's horrible, but if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. If you want to win it, you've got to beat a good team.
Yeah, but you say that, but...
Any team who gets to the final is a good team.
It'd be nicer to beat them later on. It would be nicer to beat them later on. Rather than we've had Villa, and we were lucky that Villa got their team got COVID. Not lucky in the fact that I wish they didn't get COVID, because that's not nice. I've had it. It's horrible. But in the fact that we probably would have really, really struggled against that team the way we've been playing at Villa away. I'm not sure whether we would have come through that. Got through it because they had the kids, and we probably, if I'm positive, we probably would have beaten Villa maybe. I don't know. I'm contradicting myself again. But now we've got United, and then if we beat United, it's highly likely we'll be playing West Ham. We're never getting
West Ham.
We don't get the Port Vales, the Cheltenhams, the Swanseas, the Newports. Liverpool don't get them in the cups. Who did we get knocked out by in the Carabao Cup this season? Arsenal on penalties. Season before, we got knocked out the FA Cup by Chelsea, and the Carabao Cup. Who did we lose into the Carabao Cup to? I think I forgot, but I know we faced
Villa.
Villa,
5-0.
yeah, because we had the kids, of course. We had the kids thing. So we always get Premier League sides at least, and City in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup rarely get hard teams. Yes, they had the semi-final against United recently. That's a semi-final. You expect those teams at that point. I think in the Champions League as well, they seem to get easy groups. But to be fair, Liverpool never get the hardest groups in the Champions League either, so I can't say that. But it is just weird. I don't know how they...
Do you think there is something dodgy going on? Because I genuinely think it's just luck. Like,
it is luck. But then my dad said before the draw, I bet you Liverpool will get United. I don't know if he was joking, but he said it. And as soon as United came out, I knew we were getting them because it was poetic. That was how it was going to go. Last season, we had Everton as well in the FA Cup. We just get the big derby games in the FA Cup. That just seems to happen, whether it's United, whether it's Liverpool, Everton even. If we get through United in the FA Cup, I think we'll win it. I think Liverpool will win the FA Cup. They beat United.
He never really seems to care about the FA Cup, does he, Klopp?
But this season might seem different. I reckon he played a decent team because he knew we were out of form and we needed to, and it was a game week where there was no Premier League. So he knew he could play the big boys, maybe get some form into them, get a few goals. That might have upped their confidence, ready for this United fixture. But there's also a bit of me that thinks there's been interviews before and after saying Liverpool, from the players, that they want to win the FA Cup. They want to win it. It's something they haven't won yet. It's a domestic trophy that we haven't won since 2006. We haven't won the FA Cup. It's been a while. It's Liverpool's time to win it. And I think this year we're going to go for it. This could bite me in the bum. We lose in a couple of weeks to United and that's all over. But I think the FA Cup is... I think there is something about the FA Cup that's still got a bit of a pull to it. I think the Carabao Cup's a bit like naff to me. It's the Manchester City Cup now. They win it every year. It's a bit boring. But the FA Cup's still got that magic to it. The fact that Marine were in round 3 still got that magic. Do you not think?
Yeah, no, I like the FA Cup. It's good. It's fun. Probably the third best trophy to win. Better than Europa League, I think. Yeah, Europa League. I'd rather win the FA Cup than Europa League.
So what would you rather? 4th and... but get knocked out in the FA Cup, or 5th and win the FA Cup this season?
Oh, probably. Wait, as a Chelsea fan?
Yeah, as a Chelsea fan, you qualify for the Champions League, but you don't win a trophy. Or
probably 4th. I like Champions League.
Yeah,
Champions League is so much fun to watch.
That is the only thing about the FA Cup now, is that is more important for the big clubs, which is why Liverpool and stuff don't always play the big players. Because with Liverpool in the recent seasons, yes, we've had the Champions League and Premier League been going for, but even before that, we weren't playing the biggest sides, and that was because 4th was the goal, and the FA Cup was like getting in the way, I think, Klopp thought. But I'd like to see a proper challenge from these big teams, and hopefully it's an interesting cup this year. With COVID, who knows what's going to happen with the FA Cup, whether it still fully gets to the end, who knows. But I think it is going to be a fun watch. I mean, the next tie's in a couple of weeks, and
the Championship's getting a bit better as well, so playing the second division side's actually a bit of a challenge now.
It is, I think. Oh, there you go. Who do you think's going to come up from the Championship?
Brentford and Norwich, and I'm going to back them. The Potters.
No chance. No chance. I think Swansea.
No, Watford.
I think you're right about Brentford. Unfortunately, Norwich, because Norwich are the biggest yo-yo club ever. I really don't want them to. Swansea. I'm going to back my old uni, Swansea. Swansea City are going up. What do you think, Matt?
Barnsley.
No, I'm going Watford.
Yeah, that's my shout out to my friends at Barnsley.
Barnsley.
Yeah, no, I will say, just looking at the table now, I'm going to say Norwich, Bournemouth, and Brentford.
Oh, so we've all got 3 different teams.
And who wins the FA Cup?
Who wins the FA Cup? Aston Villa.
Surely.
Villa are out, mate.
What are they called?
Oh, they're out. What are they doing? They're out. Oh, no. Cut that.
They're so bad.
We're not getting out.
Oh, that is awful. Can we get that clip right at the start? Like, can we start with that clip as like a little taster? Who's going to win the FA Cup? Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, very funny. Who's going to win the FA Cup?
Oh, that's comedy gold, mate.
Yeah, very funny. I've got to spend blushes, and by spend blushes, I've got to get it right now, haven't I? I'm just going to
give you a tip. It won't be Stoke. They're out.
Leicester City.
Actually, a good call. They're a bit like Liverpool of old, where they look like a cup team. They look like someone that can win games.
That's a bold shout.
Huh?
That's a bold shout. They're playing Brentford.
I think it's a good shout. That I think Leicester are a team character. They're set up to win cup games and make those big shocks. And if they come up against a big team in the semi-final, they can beat win a one-off game like that easy. So I think Leicester's a good shout. I'm going to back.
You know the Lord and Saviour's in charge.
Pardon?
Brendan Rodgers. The Lord and Saviour's in charge. Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, the great. I'm not going to do it. That. I want. They will show great character to win the FA Cup. Leicester City.
Great character.
Oh, there's Nathan's impression of it. So now it's just Matt to go.
Just next week.
I'm going to offend so many people.
No, you're not.
I can't do it. I'm going to click Southern Irish, and that is a whole other debate that I don't want to get into.
But no, yeah, I'm going to back my own team, Liverpool. I've been pretty negative on them in the last couple of podcasts, but I'm going to back them, and they're going to win the FA Cup. If they beat United, they're going on to win it.
I'm going United.
Ooh. So you say United aren't going to win the league, but you think they'll win the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So they focus on the FA Cup and not the league, so I don't have to go bald or whatever.
You can really see your ginger hair in the light, to be fair, this time, mate.
Yeah, there's no debate this week, is there?
No debate, mate. I think we've covered a lot there. I think we should wrap it up with some shout-outs. I've got some shout-outs. Number one, the man sitting virtually to my left. I guess it's to my left on the screen, but I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, Matt has his own blog. It's called Long Story Sport. Am I right?
It is right, yeah. Sorry for the terrible pun.
It's got.
My friend suggested I call it Sport Back and Sides, which I deemed to be.
That would have been quite good. I think that would have been quite good.
You think that would have been better?
No, not better. Long Story Sport's a good one, but no, you've got pages on Facebook and Twitter, and you post every week.
I do every Tuesday.
I think everybody should give that a follow. I've also got my mate Fraser has his own clothing brand that he's been launching over the last few months called
Wait, Harry, is it sponsored?
NNEE. No, it's not sponsored. But NNEE, Nothing Normal, Everything Extra, or just shortened to NE. Organic clothing. It's a sustainable brand. It's brilliant. I've got a shirt in the other room. I should have brought it in, but he's a great lad, a great clothing brand. I feel like it's really taking off. Definitely go check that out on Instagram. And then finally, Ben Frisby is doing something. He's 7 months in now, where he runs 5K every day of the year. He's 7 months in. He's absolutely smashing it. He's got an Instagram account for it called running 5K every day of the year, basically. I'll tag it in this post, but definitely go check that out. He's been brilliant from the start. He's smashing it, and this is in the theme of this video, talking about mental health. It's for the mental health charity, and I think go donate for that cause. It's a brilliant cause. He's trying to get to £3,000, and he's smashing it. And definitely go take a look at that. And that's my shout outs for the day, lads. And I think we've done a good podcast today. Slightly different to the last one.
Yeah.
Quite long, yeah.
Slightly different to the last one. I think that a bit more structured, but light-hearted. We also had an interruption from the landlord in the middle of it, so very interesting. But I thank you everybody for the support on the last one, and hopefully you watched.
A bit more controversy as well this week.
Pardon?
A bit more controversy this week as well.
Yeah,
Let's take on Aston Villa. Me saying Man U will never get close to the league.
A lot more to talk about this week. So we'll be back next week. Thanks everybody for watching, and see you soon.
All right.